Welcome to South by Southwest Interactive Festival. We're here with one of my favorite platforms for conferences and events, Lanyrd, and they have a very interesting story. We're here with Natalie, Downe, and Willison. So thank you guys so much for being here with us and on the go here at South by. Tell us about your story. You tweeted at us that you have a great story, so now you're on the spot.
We've been together for about 10 years now. We've often done little sort of side projects and we've worked together in the past. And so we got married last year. We decided to go on a honeymoon. So we're going to go travelling. We're going to travel the world, and we took our laptops with us to kind of work at the same time. And we came up with the idea for Lanyrd. We were on a train in Carcassonne, and we just couldn't stop talking about it. And we kind of got to the point where we were in Morocco, we were in Casablanca. We were very sick, and it was Ramadan, so we couldn't get any food during the day because it was Ramadan, and we were too ill to move on. So we hired a flat for 2 weeks and made Lanyrd. Launched the first version after about a week. Took off a lot quicker than we thought it was going to, and we carried on travelling and working as we went along. And eventually thought, well, okay, this is something we could really make a full-time business out of, and provide a lot of benefit to the world. And so we applied for Ycombinator and did the winter 2011 batch. So January, February, March last year, we were in Mountain View, which was hard to explain away as part of our honeymoon anymore, because Mountain View's not
technically still the honeymoon because we hadn't gone home, but it was a little less romantic.
Yeah, and we weren't able to announce that we were YC straight away, so everyone was like, why are you in Mountain View for your honeymoon?
It's lovely in Mountain View. So in Valley, there's lots of things to see, right?
There's some trees, there's some black squirrels.
There's some concrete, it's great. So interesting. I feel like it's more like an epiphany. If you're hungry in Morocco and sick, do you think that it may have come out from like some delusions that you had?
Some of the features that we built but didn't launch with were definitely delusional.
Yeah.
There's some things you're like, that's just not going to
like
work.
One.
So one of the ones we thought, when people sign in, we'll call through all of their recent tweets and see if they've hashtagged any conference hashtags that they've been at, and then we'll say, hey, have you been to this conference? Of course, if you just look at 20 tweets from somebody, the chances that they've been at a conference recently is pretty slim, and explaining to people how you did that is way too much work for the amount of effort that it was. So if we'll just let them look at the list of conferences and say, yeah, I was at that one, without having to do too much magic.
We ditched that feature about 4 in the morning the day before we launched
we launched it at 5 AM, so everyone like, no, just pull that bit out, that's not worth it, we'll go with what we're going to
How long did it take you to build the initial product so that you can feel confident to apply for Ycombinator? Because you can apply for Ycombinator without a product.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, they like you to kind of have like an idea of what you're going to build. I mean, often they expect you to change your idea anyway, but so they take startups lots of different things like stages. We have been doing Lanyrd for about 3 months maybe. We started in August.
2.5 months when we applied, I think.
Yeah. But we firmly believe the whole launch early, launch often thing. You can't get a feel of whether or not what you build is actually useful to people unless they've played with it, unless they've actually said, okay, this is what I want, or no, I'm not. You can see people using it. If you spend a year building something and never launch it, or launch it like after a year of development, actually having not seen a user, I don't think that's a reliable way to do a startup.
In our case, most people apply for Ycombinator to apply for Ycombinator, and then they have the idea afterwards. We were in the slightly odd situation that we applied to Ycombinator because we had this thing that was growing. It was growing way faster than the side project should. And we were thinking, we need somebody who can teach us how to do the business side. And that's what Ycombinator do, is they take in people who know how to build things, and they teach them how to do the business side. Because it's easier to do that than teach people who do the business side how to write software.
And that's interesting. I love that you guys are telling us about the experience behind Ycombinator, because a lot of people are really interested. They actually have an upcoming deadline at the end of March for the next class, and you're an alumni. What was one thing that you remember while you were experiencing the Ycombinator experience? What was that one thing that you realized, wow, this is different, this is something that's a game changer changer in our lives and also a game changer in the technology community?
I think it's probably the network. Like the advice you get from Paul Graham and the other partners is incredible, and you can book office hours with them whenever you want. And we got some amazing web design and business advice, and the really solid help. But having the other founders who are going through the same thing that you're going through, the same stresses, the same strains, they're dealing with the same kind of problems as you. You can help them out, and they can help you out, and that actually doesn't stop after the 3 months. We still have a very good network of YC alumni who we help and they help us, and it's a good kind of framework for communication.
I think because when you're doing a startup, if you're doing your first startup, everything you do is the first time you've done it. So raising money, or figuring out how to pay your taxes, or figuring out how to convert, like our investors gave us money in dollars and we had to turn it into pounds sterling. And when you've got a big investment, you don't just take it down to the post office and exchange it there. So, we got to phone up a YC company that we knew had done this a few months beforehand and say, hey, how do you do this? How do you turn dollars into pounds in an effective way? And that's just really useful because, okay, so everything you're doing is new to you, but it's new to the other people as well. And the chances are someone in that network has just done the thing that you're figuring out to do. And they've got a fresh mind about it because they just figured it out themselves. So that's just really useful, because without that, everything you hit up would be this hurdle, and you'd have no idea how to get over it.
It's very much kind of a pay it forward method as well. So we got a lot of help from startups, but we're now also helping a lot of startups coming to us. So now that we've done the fundraising thing, they kind of coming to us and saying, well, how do I go about this? And we're in the position that it's still fresh enough in our minds that we remember what it was like when we didn't know.
Yeah.
So how is the fundraising going? Have you raised enough funds for the next round, and what was that like?
It was pretty intense. We raised finished raising last year, like summer last year. We raised $1.4 million from VCs, primarily in the UK, but also a section of foreign angels in the US as well. And that's certainly a decent amount of money for a good team to build a new product, for the consumer future.
So how many people are on your team now?
There's 5 of us at the moment. We're looking for the 6th person. We're looking for someone in the sort of visual design sort of area. But yeah, and at that point, we're focusing on, we don't want to grow the team too fast, because we want to figure out how to work together really effectively. And all of the best work I've ever done has been on a team of sort of 4 to 5 people. So I'm looking forward to just getting that team rocking together and building software.
And do you like to work together in the same room? Is this an on-site type of opportunity?
Very much so.
Okay.
I think because we're married co-founders, so the start of the company was the 2 of us in a flat in an apartment in Mountain View with a whiteboard and a heck of a lot of post-it notes. And our process is very much revolved around whiteboards and post-it notes and fleshing things out. So yeah, when we started building the team, we knew that we'd wanted to be a company that was in the same room. And we've got office space near Old Street Roundabout in London, in what's called Silicon Roundabout. And that's fantastic. It's a really great space, loads of startups around there. It's a really good place for people to work.
Yeah, that's a whole other interview about the London tech scene, right?
Yeah, it's really, really good.
Yeah,
it's
so much more vibrant than we were expecting when we went back to the UK. It's just, taken off for the past couple of years. There's a good amount of UK investment, people who actually understand startups and don't expect you to, be we thought it was going to be a lot of investment bankers and things like that, but it's not. It's really kind of grassroots, and everyone helps each other, and it's a good environment.
Very cool. And so I actually want to give conference goers a tip on how to use Lanyrd. Can you tell us maybe an insight about using your platform that would really help someone who's here at South by Southwest or other conferences?
Absolutely. So for South by Southwest, we've actually shipped some custom stuff just for the conference. The big thing we have is if you go to austin.lanyrd.com, we've got an interface onto the South by Southwest schedule. You can sign in with Twitter, and we'll look at who you're following and say, okay, the people you're following are giving these talks and they're going to these things and all of that. So it can instantly filter down all 1,500 sessions to more like a couple of hundred sessions that you're likely to be interested in. Then once you've used us to plan your schedule, say, hey, these are the things I think are interesting, we'll email that to you every morning. You can get it on your phone, you can get it on your iPad. We've got a whole batch of different ways of getting that information somewhere where it'll be useful to you. We also have a new thing we've shipped called now.lanyrd.com, which simply shows you what's on now and next, and it geolocates you with your mobile phone's GPS device, and then it'll say, okay, we think you're near the Hilton, here's what's on now next to the Hilton. So it's one glance and show you the information that you need to know right now.
And then we need to do this for Chicago, for Tech Week Chicago as well, right? So we can do chicago.lanyrd.com.
We'd love to do it, yeah.
And that's June 22nd to the 26th. I hope you guys can come to that. And we're going to we're going to make it happen, and we're also working with a lot of startups in London for the Chicago Technic Conference, so we'd love to have you there.